Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir. Here we are at episode 6 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. And that means we are 2/3 of the way through this series. And that means wedding episode. Why? Because women love weddings, I guess? I mean, you never hear about groomzillas, right? So the A-plot is Jen being invited to be in a high school friend's wedding party in the middle of the week. Why the middle of the week? Because that's the only way the writers could think of a way to team up Nikki and Mallory for the B-plot. So let's look at the B-plot first. Nikki and Mallory are representing Mr. Immortal. He's a hero created by John Byrne in the West Coast Avengers comic as the leader of the Great Lakes Avengers. Mr. Immortal seems to have a problem of marrying women and a man, and then getting killed when he wants out of the relationship. And because his superpower is that he resurrects himself immediately, he uses his power to get out of any situation he's not comfortable in. So now all these exes are taking him to court. Now, how would a good writer handle this? By having the lawyer state that since Mr. Immortal legally died, the wedding contracts become null and void, right? Well, this show seems to be a little bit on the short side when it comes to having good writers. So instead they have Mallory and Nikki lecture him until he jumps out the window and ends himself. But since he gets up and walks away, the writers still need to come up with a way to resolve this plot. The uber lawyer Mallory isn't doing well, so Nikki is able to jump up on the table and resolve everything. I believe I pointed this out before, but Nikki is the only reoccurring character, including Dennis, who was created for the show and does not come from the comics. Nikki is a Mary Sue. She is literally great at everything she does and is now doing Mallory's job for her. Hell, Mallory even opens up to her about her personal life. The only thing missing is the other characters saying, "Where's Poochie?" when she's not on the screen. Now, on to Jen's plot. One thing I've been saying about this show is how inconsistent it is, especially Jen's character. You know how they keep saying that Jen isn't comfortable as She-Hulk? Well, when Jen shows up at her friend Lulu's wedding, she arrives as She-Hulk. Now, I'm a guy, and even I know that this is a dick move to pull, showing up and overshadowing the bride at her own wedding. But oh noes, Titania shows up too. She was invited to the wedding as well. And because everyone on the show is an idiot, well, except Nikki, only Jen finds this to be a little bit suspicious. For some reason, Lulu has Jen doing a lot of menial tasks when some of the wedding crew cancel, and Jen goes ahead and does it. I point this out because when she was having a drunken conversation with a would-be suitor, she talks about how great her life is. And honestly, her life is good. She has a good job as a specialized lawyer, and she's a superhero as well. Once again, I think the writers unintentionally wrote something good and subtle. You see, these two things together, when done by a competent writer, would show that Jen secretly suffers from low self-esteem. But again, I've said this many times, I don't think the writers are that clever. Having the bride boss Jen around for showing up as She-Hulk is, well, it's supposedly comedy. And then we get to the fight scene. Titania goads a drunken Jen into turning into She-Hulk with a hit that should have caved human Jen's face in, judging by the way it sent her flying. Wait, hold on. So Titania wants revenge on She-Hulk, so she somehow works her way into the wedding party of someone Jen went to high school with? She supposedly just happens to be dating this guy that's 2 degrees of separation away from Jen? This must have taken some planning to do. It seems like it would have just been easier for Titania to hang out by Jen's office and wait for her to leave work. Oh, wait, everyone on the show is stupid, and Titania has a history of doing things that don't make any sense anyway. But back to the fight. The winner of the rematch is the floor. Yeah, Titania slips on some ice and bangs her face on the floor, jacking up her veneers, and runs out stealing the wedding cake. And that's terrible. Jen had promised Lulu that she wouldn't turn into She-Hulk, so Jen tries to apologize after the fight, and Lulu, who's now drunk, is so honored to have She-Hulk show up at her wedding that she gives her a hug. And that's when the show makes a joke about how huge She-Hulk's boobs are, because Lulu's face is right at that level. You know, if it wasn't for this scene, I would not have noticed something. You see, I dated for a long time an absolutely amazing woman that stood at 6 feet 2 inches and was very well endowed. And when she would wear 2-inch heels, that would put her 6 inches over my 5'10" manlet height. So I've had this experience many times of having my face buried in heaven, I mean huge boobs. But as She-Hulk, Jen really isn't incredibly busty. I mean, in the comics, it's been said that She-Hulk has some of the largest breasts in the Marvel Universe. But why am I making a point of this? You see, in human form, you can clearly see that Jen is not wearing a bra. Titania almost looks to be as big as Jen despite being shorter, and hers actually move realistically. Well, Titania is also not CGI, obviously. If Jen is really as well endowed as Lulu states, the girls should be bouncing all around during their fight, and, well, hanging a bit lower than they are. Unless her breasts are rock hard like bad implants in She-Hulk form. I mean, maybe that would make sense why they don't move or anything. But as always, this show is a tell don't show, so what do you know? I give this episode a 4. I mean, we do get a fight scene, and we almost see an inner side to Jen's mindset. But I don't see the show getting any better for the last 3 episodes. But I'm this far in, so I might as well finish it out. So this show is going to rip off the latest Batman movie and have the villains post on the internet. Wait. Why exactly does everyone want her dead? Okay, she beat Titania in the first episode, and then fought the demon bats in the club with Wong. That's only 2 instances of superheroing that she's done where there have been witnesses. Are the bad guys really those 4 dudes from the first episode wanting revenge for her scaring them? Or do the bad guys really just hate lawyers?